Hi, my name is Lan, and I'm with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and I'm here to read a story with you today. Today's book is called What's on Your Plate? Exploring the World of Food by Whitney Stewart, illustrated by Christiane Engel. Eating across land and sea. Have you ever noticed how food brings people together? Think of all the birthday parties and holiday gatherings you've attended with family, and think about how that food was served. The world over, people rejoice with feasts. In some countries, people welcome summer with a barbecue and corn on the cob. In others, people celebrate the new year with a giant pot of noodle soup. The foods we create and the ways we cook them are part of what we call our food culture. Throughout the world, people have unique food cultures that are connected to the history and geography of where they live. In this book, we're going to explore those connections. Imagine you're a voyager traveling from country to country, trying all the foods each one has to offer. Are you hungry? Get ready to find out what's cooking around the world and taste it in your own kitchen. United States. The first people to arrive on the land we now call the United States migrated from Asia more than 10,000 years ago. Their descendants lived in different groups called tribes. Some tribes, like the Wampanoag and the Abenaki, grew corn, squash, and beans. They called this combination the Three Sisters because the plants grew together, with the bean plants winding around the corn stalks. Besides growing these key vegetables, tribes also harvested wild rice, which they often prepared and served with nuts, berries, and maple syrup. They roasted meat and seafood over an open fire. Later, when colonists from Europe arrived on the land, they depended on the tribes for survival. The Wampanoag tribe taught the English pilgrims of Plymouth Colony how to grow the Three Sisters. And in 1621, the pilgrims and the Wampanoag feasted together on fish, wild bird, cornbread, and even popcorn. In the hundreds of years since then, immigrants from all over the world have come to America and have brought their favorite foods with them. Italians introduced pizza and pasta. Japanese people introduced sushi. Some of the most popular dishes in America today originated in other countries. Popular American foods include barbecued ribs, cheeseburger, fried chicken, and mashed potatoes. Check out the recipe for corn on the cob. Mexico. Maize or corn is at the heart of Mexican cuisine. The native people of Mexico soaked and boiled maize kernels in wood ash or lime. By doing this, they would easily remove the skin from the kernels. Then they pounded the maize into masa, or flour, and shaped it into flat discs called tortillas. They baked the tortillas on hot stones and ate them with locally grown foods like beans, tomatoes, chili peppers, squash, and avocados. They also ate fish and wild turkey. When Spanish conquerors arrived in Mexico in 1519, they introduced such new foods as wheat, pork, chicken, cheese, rice, and onions, all of which are still part of Mexican cuisine. Today, people pile tortillas high with shredded meat, fish, and vegetables. These delicious folded tortillas are often served with salsa. Chances are you've eaten them before. They're called tacos. Popular Mexican foods include empanadas, enchiladas, tacos, and tamales. Check out the recipe for guacamole. Brazil. Brazilian food is a tasty blend of flavors from different cultures. The native people frequently cook with cassava, a starchy root vegetable shaped like a carrot with a rough brown skin. Cassava can be dried and ground into tapioca flour and then used to make bread, pancakes, and porridge. In addition to cassava, native people also ate pineapples and other tropical fruit that grow well in Brazil's warm climate, as well as beans, cashews, Brazil nuts, and fish. Portuguese conquerors arrived on Brazil's shores in 1500 and brought some of their favorite foods with them: dried and salted cod, which is a type of fish, cheese, olives, almonds, garlic, and onions. Later, West African people arrived in Brazil and introduced such foods as okra, black-eyed peas, and dried shrimp. Today, Brazilian chefs combine food traditions to make tasty barbecued meats, fish stews with okra, pork and bean dishes, and sweet tapioca puddings. When you eat Brazilian food, you can taste a mix of South American, European, and African food cultures. Popular Brazilian foods include açaí bowls, coxinha, feijoada, and moqueca. Check out the recipe for pão de queijo, which are cheese rolls. Spain. Spanish cuisine is tied to Spain's history of invasions. When the Romans invaded Spain thousands of years ago, they planted groves of olive trees. And now olives and olive oil show up in many Spanish recipes. Hundreds of years after the Roman invasion, people from North Africa invaded and introduced almonds, oranges, lemons, and sugarcane, all of which are still important to Spanish cooking today. These conquerors from North Africa also grew rice. Paella, Spain's well-known rice dish, is cooked with saffron, a spice that was also brought into Spain from North Africa. The Spanish diet would expand once again after Christopher Columbus sailed to the Americas and claimed land for Spain. This time, the Spanish were the conquerors. Columbus and other Spanish conquistadors, or conquerors, returned to Spain with potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, and cocoa beans on their ships. Many signature Spanish dishes today include these foods. Popular Spanish foods include gazpacho, paella, pisto, and tortilla de patatas. Check out the recipe for ham and cheese tapas. France. Ooh la la, we're in France. French cuisine developed over centuries into what it is today thanks to the work of some incredibly talented and creative French chefs. One chef, Marie-Antoine Carême, was born into a poor family in 1784 and started working as a kitchen boy at age 10. He became famous for creating pastry sculptures that dazzled French royalty and for creating special sauces that transformed French cooking. Today, French chefs incorporate cheese, truffles, and herbs into their cooking. France has over 500 types of cheese, including brie and camembert, two soft cheeses that you may have tasted. Truffles, a type of mushroom that grows underground, are prized for their strong, earthy flavor and are used in many French dishes. And to add even more savory flavor, chefs use herbs in almost everything. Thyme, rosemary, sage, and oregano are added to soups, stews, and sauces, or used as a rub for grilled meat. You can probably find some of these herbs in your kitchen cabinet. Bon appetit! Popular French foods include cassoulet, crêpes, moules frites, and pot-au-feu. Check out the recipe for coq monsieur, which is boiled ham and cheese sandwich. Italy. You may have heard that the Italians are responsible for making pizza famous, but did you know that pizza started out as a flat disc of bread roasted on stone? People didn't begin adding basic toppings like olive oil, tomato, garlic, and rosemary until centuries later. Legend has it that in 1889, King Umberto and Queen Margherita of Italy visited Naples, a city now famous for pizza. And while they were there, Chef Raffaele Esposito invented a new pizza with colorful toppings in green, white, and red to match the Italian flag. He named it for the Queen, and only since then, or so goes the legend, have we had the pleasure of eating a cheesy, basil-topped margherita pizza. Historians have questioned this famous tale, but true or false, it's still a great story. In case you think Italy has only pizza to offer, let's look at its other specialties. If you've ever been to an Italian restaurant, you know that there's a whole section on the menu for pasta. Pasta is made from durum wheat that is grown in southern Italy. In northern Italy, arborio rice is harvested, which is what chefs use to make risotto, a creamy rice dish. Like France, Italy is also famous for its cheese. There are over 400 kinds of cheeses in Italy. Many of those end up on top of, you guessed it, pizza. Popular Italian foods include caciucco, cacio e pepe, gnocchi, and risotto. Check out the recipe for pesto, which is a basil and cheese sauce. Greece. Greek cuisine dates back to ancient times. The oldest cookbook in the world is from Greece. More than 2,000 years ago, the author of that cookbook, Achestoros, advised people not to cover up the natural flavor of foods with heavy seasoning. In the book, he praises foods like seafood, bread, and honey, all of which are still popular in Greece today. Much of Greek food culture is tied to its mountainous geography there. Due to the well drained soil and sunny climate, olives, grapes, and almonds grow well. Goats and sheep graze on the hillsides, and from their milk, people make cheese and yogurt. Greece is also surrounded by the Mediterranean and Aegean seas, which is why fish and other seafood are a big part of the cuisine. Today, Greek cooking is still known for its simple, fresh, and lightly seasoned foods. Popular Greek foods include dolmades, calamari, moussaka, and spanakopita. Check out the recipe for tzatziki, which is cucumber and yogurt salad. Morocco. Morocco is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the north and the Atlantic Ocean to the west and south. This means that people in Morocco have always had easy access to fish. Berbers, the native people of Morocco, cooked with wheat, maize, and legumes, which all grow well in Morocco's fertile soil. When desert tribesmen from Arabia conquered the land and settled in Morocco, they brought with them such spices as cinnamon, ginger, saffron, and cumin. All of these spices are still used in Moroccan cooking today. The tribesmen also introduced a sweet and sour cooking style that you can taste in Morocco's favorite dishes, including tagine, which is a stew, and couscous, which is steamed grain topped with meat and vegetables. Alongside their meals, Moroccan people love drinking mint tea. This tradition started in the 1800s when British merchants brought tea from China to Morocco. People loved it and began brewing it with Moroccan spearmint and other Moroccan herbs. Each cup of tea is a reminder of the blended traditions that make up Moroccan culture. Popular Moroccan foods include bissara, couscous, tagine, and zalouk. Check out the recipe for shla de kizu, which is a zesty carrot and orange salad. Ethiopia. There are more than 80 different religious groups in Ethiopia, and the cuisine is just as diverse. Orthodox Christians in Ethiopia have about 200 days of fasting a year. They do not eat meat or dairy products on those days. Similarly, the Muslim population, in line with religious beliefs, do not eat pork. These religious traditions have resulted in a cuisine that includes a variety of meatless recipes. Chickpeas, lentils, and split peas are used in many Ethiopian dishes. These foods are spiced with berbere, a blend of chili pepper, garlic, ginger, cumin, and coriander powders. Most Ethiopian meals start with injera, a spongy pancake made with teff, which is a tiny seed from an ancient grass that is ground into flour. People pile vegetable or meatwort, or stew, on top of injera and eat the whole thing with their fingers. You can taste Ethiopia's diverse traditions in every spicy bite. Popular Ethiopian foods include darowat, harira, misir alicha wat, and sirawat. Check out the recipe for injera, a spongy flatbread. Israel. Israel's cuisine is a blend of old traditions from the Middle East, North Africa, and Europe. For over 1,000 years, people in the region have eaten traditional Middle Eastern foods such as wheat, legumes, olives, grapes, figs, lamb, and dairy products. Hummus, or pureed chickpeas, and falafel, which are deep-fried chickpea balls, are dishes that date back to ancient times, as does shawarma, which is slow-grilled meat. If you've ever been to a Middle Eastern restaurant, you've probably seen these foods on the menu. When Europeans migrated to Israel, they brought with them such foods as veal schnitzel, which is meat from a young cow breaded and pan-fried. They've brought goulash, which is spiced stew, and latkes, which is potato fritters or pancakes, to name just a few. People from North Africa also migrated to Israel and brought dishes that are now popular. Couscous and shakshuka, eggs poached in spicy tomato sauce, are two examples. When you sit down for a meal of Israeli food, you can explore culinary traditions from 3 different continents. Popular Israeli foods include baba ganoush, falafel, labna, and tabbouleh. Check out the recipe for hummus. India. India's diverse cuisine is influenced by many religious customs. The Hindu and Jain people in India, for example, believe in ahimsa, or nonviolence even to animals. Because of this belief, many people do not eat meat. Their meals are instead typically made up of rice with vegetables and legumes that are often spiced with black pepper, chili pepper, ginger, cumin, coriander, and cardamom. One popular vegetable dish is aloo gobi, a savory potato and cauliflower mix. Muslim people in India also follow certain rules when it comes to food. Their religion allows them to eat a variety of meats, but not pork. They often prepare beef or chicken tandoori style, which means cooked in a clay oven. Chicken tikka masala is a popular meat dish made up of bite-sized chicken pieces stewed in a creamy tomato-based curry sauce that is then served over rice. People in India may practice many different religions, but when it comes to eating, most people use their right hand. When you make Indian food at home, try eating it with your fingers to get the full cultural experience. Popular Indian foods include biryani, dal, matar paneer, and samosa. Check out the recipe for banana lassi, which is an Indian yogurt drink. Thailand. Thailand's cuisine begins with rice and spice. More than 1,000 years ago, the Thai people migrated from southern China to what is now Thailand, and they planted rice paddies throughout the valleys. Today, people in Thailand eat rice at almost every meal. Traders from India brought cinnamon, clove, cumin, and cardamom into Thailand, and chefs use these spices for curried meats, fish, and vegetable dishes. Portuguese and Spanish traders later introduced chili peppers from the Americas, thus giving Thai food its signature heat. In the 1700s, Chinese immigrants added noodles, soy sauce, and tofu to Thai cuisine and introduced a stir-fry cooking style. Today, Thailand's chefs carefully choose spices and local products to balance 5 essential flavors in their cooking: salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and spicy. They add fish sauce or shrimp paste to create a salty flavor, and then they balance it with palm sugar. They use vinegar, lime, or tamarind, which is a type of fruit, for a sour flavor, and bitter melon or greens for a more bitter taste. Finally, chefs toss chili peppers, peppercorns, and ginger into their recipes to make the food spicy. In sauces, that heat is balanced with creamy coconut milk. Put all these flavors together and you get food that is both bold and rich. Popular Thai foods include jok, gang kia wan kai, tom yam goong, and yum woon sen. Check out the recipe for vegetable pad thai, which is pan-fried rice noodles with vegetables. China. Chinese cuisine has been around for thousands of years and is tied to the importance of family in Chinese culture. Ancient recipes have been passed down from generation to generation, and almost all Chinese food can be traced back to one of China's 8 great cooking traditions. These traditions share basic ingredients like garlic, ginger, scallions, and sesame oil, but they also have unique qualities. The Sichuan style is famous for its spice, which comes from chili peppers and Sichuan peppercorns. The Guangdong style is known for dim sum, a brunch meal made up of small platters of food, usually either steamed or fried. The Jiangsu cooking style incorporates seafood in soups and stews, where the Anhui cooking tends to call for forest herbs and bamboo shoots. Stir-fried dishes in Hunan are known for being spicy and sour, whereas Fujian cooking is famous for seasoning food with fermented fish sauce and shrimp paste. Shandong chefs often serve wheat noodles and meat-filled buns. And finally, Zhejiang cooking is famous for its sweet desserts made from sticky rice. Today, Chinese families continue to cook and eat together, and by doing so, keep their ancient food traditions alive. Popular Chinese foods include char siu bao, congee, mapo tofu, and Peking duck. Check out the recipe for sesame noodles, which is wheat noodles with a salty sesame sauce. Japan. One of the most important aspects of Japanese cooking is presentation. In a bowl of rice, noodles, or broth, Japanese chefs carefully arrange small, colorful portions of fish, meat, and vegetables. Because Japan is an island nation, chefs often cook with fish or other seafood. They grill fish, batter fry it, or use it raw in sushi. Chefs balance flavors with such seasonings as grated ginger, soy sauce, horseradish, and vinegar. Once plated, the finished dishes often look like works of art. Japanese people might not all be culinary artists at home, but they still appreciate the same delicate flavors that chefs enjoy. They often eat a bowl of white rice with miso soup or soybean paste soup, and add some tsukemono, which is pickled vegetables, and ginger. In winter, people put their own personal touches on oden, a traditional hearty stew, by adding to it such ingredients as fish cakes, tofu, radish slivers, noodles, and hard-boiled eggs. Japanese cooking is artful and uniquely satisfying. Popular Japanese foods include cold soba, sushi, tempura, and yakitori chicken. Check out the recipe for miso soup, which is soup made of soybean paste and seaweed broth. Around the world and home again. Now that you've made your way around the world, it's time to start cooking at home. There's nothing better than experimenting with flavors and adding your own touch to age-old recipes. Once you've perfected a dish so it tastes just like the way you like it, invite some friends over and share. Throw a potluck party and ask each guest to bring a favorite dish. On a map, mark the country where each dish originated. This way, you'll continue to explore the world and its many flavors. Happy eating! What's on Your Plate takes you on a fun food journey to learn food traditions of different cultures. Having a better understanding of someone's food and culture helps you create stronger communities and connections. I hope you will take the time to learn more about the food traditions of your classmates and friends. Be sure to check out the book for the recipes mentioned and the glossary. Thanks for joining me today. You can find other stories read by fellow food bankers on our YouTube page.